All right, picture this. It's a Tuesday morning. You're on I-5, heading through that stretch near Wilsonville. You know the one. And for once, traffic is actually moving.
A miracle in itself.
Right. The rain has stopped for a second. You've got your coffee, and then out of nowhere, thwack.
Oh, that is a sound that I think everyone listening just physically felt.
Yeah.
It's the official sound of driving in the Pacific Northwest.
It really is. A rock from a semi 3 lanes over just leaves this nasty little starburst right on your windshield. And your first thought is just, annoyance. Great, another thing to fix. But then that second thought kicks in. You see a police car on the on-ramp and you get a little paranoid. You're thinking, wait, is this illegal? Am I driving a crime scene right now?
It sounds dramatic, but
Yeah.
honestly, it's the right question. We're all so focused on oil changes and tire pressure, but we treat this huge piece of glass like it's just invisible.
Until it's not.
Until it's the only thing you can see.
Exactly. So that's our mission for this deep dive. We've got a ton of fantastic information here from Collision Auto Glass and Calibration. They're a local family-owned shop in the Portland metro. And we're going to get into the weeds on the actual law here in Oregon. We're talking Oregon Revised Statute 815.220.
But we're not just going to read the legal code, because frankly, the law hasn't really caught up with the technology in our cars. We need to talk about why that sheet of glass is basically a structural component keeping you safe, and why modern cars have turned a simple replacement into kind of a computer science problem.
That's the part that really floored me in the research. But okay, let's start with that immediate fear. I have a crack. I'm driving through Wilsonville. Do I need to be checking my rear view for flashing lights?
The short answer is maybe. Yes, it absolutely can be illegal.
Yeah.
But the law itself is surprisingly slippery. It's not as simple as running a red light.
I always assumed there was like a rule, a handbook somewhere that says if the crack is longer than a dollar bill, you're getting a ticket.
That's the urban legend, right?
Yeah.
It would be so much easier if it were true. But if you actually pull up ORS 815.22, you won't find any measurements. There's no 6-inch rule or anything like that.
So what does it say?
The entire law basically comes down to 2 words: impairment of vision.
Impairment of vision, that feels incredibly subjective.
Exactly. And that's where the nuance comes in. The statute says you can't operate a vehicle if the windshield damage obstructs the driver's clear view of the road. It's all about location, not size.
So location matters more than length.
It's everything. Let me give you an example. You could have a 12-inch crack running along the very bottom of the passenger side. It's ugly, sure. But does it stop you from seeing a car in front of you? Probably not. An officer isn't likely to pull you over for that.
Okay, but what if it's a tiny chip, like the size of a quarter, but it's directly in my line of sight?
Now that is a ticket waiting to happen. That's a violation.
Yeah.
Because it's a distraction. Your eyes are naturally drawn to that little flaw instead of focusing down the road. Legally, that tiny spider web in your field of view is way more dangerous than a long crack somewhere else.
So when you get pulled over, it's really just up to the officer's discretion. They're making a judgment call on the spot.
They are. They're deciding if you're a hazard. And if they decide you are, that's when you get into the financial pain zone.
Let's talk about that pain. What kind of numbers are we talking here? A simple fix-it ticket or something worse?
It can start around $135, but it can go all the way up to $1,000 depending on the circumstances. If they feel it's contributing to, say, reckless driving, it gets expensive really fast.
Wow, $1,000 for a piece of glass.
And that's not even the only problem. There's another little gotcha here in Oregon that a lot of people don't think about until it's too late.
Yeah.
The DEQ.
The Department of Environmental Quality. What do they have to do with it? I thought they just checked my exhaust.
They do. That's their main job. But they also have a safety check. And if you roll into a DEQ station for your emissions test with a badly damaged windshield, they can fail you on the spot. They can refuse to even test the car.
No way. So you can't renew your registration because of the glass.
Exactly. And now you're stuck. You can't legally drive the car to get it fixed because your tags are expired, but you can't get new tags until the glass is fixed. It's a whole bureaucratic nightmare.
Okay, so the legal side is a risky gamble. But I want to pivot because the notes from Collision Auto Glass had a statistic that it stopped me cold. It said the windshield provides up to 30% of a vehicle's structural strength.
It's a huge number, isn't it? It sounds wrong.
It does. I mean, it's glass. I think of the steel frame, the pillars. I don't think of the see-through part as what's holding the car together.
Well, that's the key to modern car design. We're not driving body-on-frame trucks anymore. Modern cars are designed as a safety cell, like a cage. And the windshield isn't just a window, it's a load-bearing structural component.
Okay, walk me through that. How is glass load-bearing?
Think about a rollover accident. If the car flips, the entire weight comes crashing down on the roof. What stops that roof from caving in on you?
The pillars on the side, I would assume?
The pillars are part of it, for sure, but the windshield acts like a bridge between those pillars. It locks them together and stops them from buckling inward. If that glass is already cracked, its ability to resist that crushing force is, well, it's severely compromised.
So the roof is more likely to collapse.
By up to 30%. You lose that critical survival space inside the car.
That's a terrifying thought. So a crack is literally a weak spot in your car's armor.
It is, and it gets even more critical when you think about what's inside the car, specifically the passenger side airbag.
Oh, okay.
You see, that airbag doesn't just shoot straight out at the passenger. It deploys upwards, bounces off the windshield, and then positions itself in front of the passenger.
Wait, really? It uses the windshield like a backboard, like in basketball.
That is the perfect analogy. It banks off the glass, and it hits that glass with incredible force. So now imagine you have a big crack right where that airbag is supposed to hit.
The glass just gives way. The airbag goes right through it.
Or it doesn't deploy correctly. It might not cushion the passenger at the right angle or the right time. Suddenly, one of your most important safety features is either useless or, in some cases, even dangerous.
That completely changes how I think about this. It's not just, oh, the glass is still in the frame, it's fine. The engineering is way more delicate than that.
It's an entire system.
Yeah.
And you live in Oregon. We haven't even talked about the rain yet.
Ah, yes. The constant rain.
A crack isn't just a line. It's a prism. At night, in the rain, when headlights hit that crack, it refracts the light into a starburst. It can blind you for a critical second or two.
And at 65 on I-5, 2 seconds is a long, long way to be driving blind.
Precisely. So whether it's the roof, the airbag, or just being able to see, the safety argument is actually much more compelling than the legal one.
Which brings up the question, if it's this important, why do we all wait to fix it? I'm guilty. I see a chip and think, I'll deal with that later.
It's just human nature. We don't want the hassle or the cost. We think it's small, it'll be fine. But here in the Pacific Northwest, waiting is one of the worst things you can do.
Because of the temperature changes?
Exactly. Thermal shock.
Yeah.
You wake up, it's 30 degrees outside, you get in the car, and what's the first thing you do?
Blast the defroster on max heat.
Right. You're hitting cold glass with hot air, then maybe the sun comes out in the afternoon, heats it up more, then a cold rain shower hits. All that expansion and contraction puts immense stress right on that little chip.
And that's when the crack runs.
You go to bed with a tiny chip and you wake up to a crack running all the way across your windshield. It happens all the time.
So let's talk about the money. You can repair just a chip, right?
Oh, yeah. If you catch it early, a chip repair is pretty cheap, usually somewhere between $50 and $150, and it only takes about half an hour.
How do they do that? Is it just like super glue?
It's a bit more advanced. They use a device to create a vacuum over the chip to pull all the air out, and then they inject a clear resin that gets cured with a UV light. It actually restores the structural integrity we were talking about.
But if it cracks?
If it cracks, you're past the point of repair. You're in full replacement territory, and that means a whole new windshield.
Which costs what for a normal car?
For an older basic car, maybe $200 to $500. But, and this is a huge but, most cars on the road today are not basic anymore.
Right. And this brings us to that tech acronym I see everywhere, ADAS.
Advanced Driver Assistance Systems.
Yep.
This has completely changed the game. If your car is from, say, 2018 or newer, you almost certainly have it.
That's the lane departure warning, the automatic braking, all that stuff.
Yep. Adaptive cruise control, all those safety features. But how's your car know where the lane lines are?
A camera.
A camera mounted right behind your rearview mirror looking through the windshield. The windshield is literally the camera's lens.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Okay.
If you replace the glass.
You've moved the lens, even by a millimeter. And that throws off all the calculations. Think of it like this. If you put on someone else's prescription glasses, the world looks distorted, right? You might trip walking down the stairs.
Yeah, of course.
Now imagine your car's computer doing that at 70 miles an hour. It might not see a car stopping ahead, or it might see a shadow on the road and slam on the brakes for no reason.
So you have to do more than just replace the glass.
You have to perform a recalibration. You have to tell the car's computer exactly where its eyes are now looking.
And I'm guessing that adds to the bill.
Oh, yeah. It can add another $200 to $400. And it takes time. It's a precise process. Sometimes they do it in the shop with special targets, and sometimes they actually have to drive the car on specific roads to let it relearn the environment.
So that we'll come to your office parking lot and fix it model doesn't really work for this?
Not if you want it done right.
Oh.
You need a controlled environment.
Yeah.
If a shop tells you, oh, you don't need to calibrate it, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah.
You're driving away with your safety systems essentially disabled.
This makes me think about insurance. Do most policies cover this high-tech calibration stuff?
Generally, yes. Comprehensive coverage will handle the replacement and the necessary calibration. But here's the most important tip for anyone listening.
Okay.
Check your policy for deductible waivers on repairs.
Meaning what?
The insurance companies have done the math. They would much rather pay $100 for a chip repair than $1,000 for a full replacement with calibration. So many of them will waive your deductible entirely if you just get the chip fixed.
So getting a chip repaired could actually be free.
It could be $0 out of your pocket. You save the hassle, you keep your car's original factory seal, and it costs you nothing.
That feels like the most actionable advice of the day. If you get a chip, call your insurance agent immediately.
Do not wait for it to get worse.
Okay, one last thing before we wrap. Those DIY kits you see at the auto parts store for $10, are they any good?
Let's call them a cosmetic Band-Aid.
They don't actually fix the structure.
It's very, very difficult to get a proper vacuum seal and inject the resin correctly with one of those little plastic syringes. You might make it look a little better, but you're probably leaving air pockets in there, which means the weakness is still there.
And if you mess it up?
You can't undo it. Once that cheap resin is in there, a professional can't get it out to do a proper repair. You've basically sealed in the mistake.
So just leave it to the pros.
Especially when your insurance might cover it for free anyway, it's just not worth the risk.
All right, this has been a massive amount of information. Let's try to boil it down for someone who's maybe looking at a new chip on their windshield right now.
Okay, recap. First, the law. ORS 814.220. It's not about size, it's about location. If it's in your line of sight, it's illegal. That could mean a fine up to $1,000 and a failed DEQ test.
Second, the safety.
Your windshield is a structural wall. It keeps the roof from crushing you in a rollover, and it's the backboard for your airbag. A crack is a major weak point.
And third, the technology.
If your car has modern safety features, a replacement requires a recalibration. Make sure the shop you choose can do it correctly to factory specs.
It's a really strong case for not just ignoring that sound on the freeway.
Absolutely. The wait-and-see approach is almost always the most expensive one you can take.
You know, it leaves me with this final thought. We think of car maintenance as being about the engine and the tires, but we're moving into an era where glass maintenance is actually sensor maintenance.
That's a great way to put it.
That clear shield in front of you is one of the most complex, high-tech parts of the whole machine. As cars get smarter, their eyes, the windshield, matter more than ever.
Well said. Take care of the glass, and the car will take care of you.
A huge thank you to Collision Auto Glass and Calibration for all the data that made this deep dive possible. And thank you, our listener, for joining us. Drive safe and maybe give that semi-truck a little extra room on the freeway.
Safe drive.